Hey guys, welcome to 2026. Welcome to the SXS Australia Podcast, episode 14, first one for 2026. Hope you guys had a great break over Christmas. This is year 3 of running the podcast and year 3 of us running the Side by Side Club of Australia Incorporated. So congratulations everyone and well done and all of the work you've put into making this all happen over the last few years. I will jump straight into it because we have got a cracking year coming up. The last couple of years have been pretty good, but I'll tell you what, moving forward, things are going to grow pretty quick. We're getting massive support from the industry. Obviously, the club is still getting huge support and it's continuously growing from Can-Am, from BRP Australia. Thank you so much, guys, for all of the effort you put into the back end, and you'll see more and more of that coming along. But as is always the case, this club is for all side-by-side users. It's not just for Can-Am owners. We encourage all side-by-sides to come along, but Can-Am are the ones footing the bill behind it, making it all happen. So thank you so much to them. All right, so what is happening moving forward with Side by Side Club of Australia? Because that's what the podcast is all about, promoting that. South East Queensland, anyone? Who's for a chapter in South East Queensland? We're going to run rides up there now. So I'm in the finishing touches of organising the crew that's going to be managing that. Obviously, we can't do all of that from here. All the back end stuff will still be done through South Australia, through our executive committee, between myself and Scooter and Noodles and Mark. We're going to make sure all of the back end work and bookings and everything all happen seamlessly and effortlessly for the crew up in South East Queensland. But we will be announcing a crew and a lead person, an event coordinator for that region in the coming weeks. We're just making sure we get the right person. I had a phone call from Guy, a fella up in Queensland last week, who basically headed us down this track of running events at Manor Park. So Matt Simpson and his crew have done a fantastic job of their buggy-only weekends at Manor Park over the years. It's been a bit on again, off again with whether they can get insurance and the property owners and who actually manages the rides and everything up there. So it's got to the point where I actually had a phone call from the owner, from Dave Laidler and his wife last week. And we had a lengthy chat. They're lovely people. Had a great chat about what the options were with the Side by Side Club of Australia running events up there. And it looks like we've come to an agreement that's going to work really well for everybody. So if you're not familiar with Manor Park and you live in South East Queensland, you need to crawl out underneath that rock, grab your side-by-side and get down there when we have our rides. They used to have two-wheelers there. They have 4 drives there. Obviously, have side-by-side buggies there. But they're looking at getting us in there with our insurance running rides. And we're planning on doing 3 this year at Manor Park. Eventually, we'll do a couple of other rides in other areas in South East Queensland as well. But for this year, it's probably just going to be the 3 Manor Parks, just to get everything started correctly, so that when we expand in that region, we know we've got the formula right for up there. We know we've got the formula right down here. We just need to get it right up there. Okay, so in the next couple of weeks, we'll announce who the crew is going to be running that. But for now, hold this date, pencil this in your calendars for the first ride. The plan is the weekend of the 30th and 31st of May. Tiff and I are going to be at Farm Fest Field Days in Toowoomba, which is only a couple of hours away, 2.5 hours from Manor Park. So we're planning on heading up early, getting our setup done early, and then buzzing up for the weekend or at least a couple of days to Manor Park and help out getting that all happening. So the first ride is done the way we would do it down here, and then we'll be comfortable moving on to step away and let the new crew manage those rides. Obviously, we'll manage the back end and the promotion and everything, but they'll be the hands-on at the events. So watch this space, South East Queensland. I know we've got a lot of members up in your region already. I think we've got 34 members in Queensland all up at the moment, out of our 225 national members, active members. So yeah, it's going to be a really big thing for that region. So thanks, Guy, and thanks to all the other guys up there, or the other people up there that we've been working with. And I'm sure that once we get the crew all organised that's going to run that, and we announce that, then everyone's going to chip in and make sure that happens really well. We've got 5 rides happening in what we're now calling the South Central region, which is basically what last year was known as Side by Side Club of Australia. So South Australia, Western Vic, northwestern New South Wales, that sort of region, western region of New South Wales. we've got 5 rides happening there again with a little twist, and other options possibly coming up later on, just waiting on a couple of T's to be crossed and I's to be dotted, and there'll be at least 1, maybe 2 more rides to announce in that area, but I'm not going to talk about that yet. I'm going to get my mate Johnny Rogers to help me with that. When he finishes digging holes today, I'm going to jump on the podcast with him tonight, and we'll have a bit of a chat about what these events are going to entail, because he is our new event coordinator for the Side-by-Side Club of Australia South Central region. So while we're on the subject of new members in the club, in the committees, so he's our event coordinator moving forward for South Central. The executive committee, which is basically the guys who run the club, no changes in the personnel, a couple of changes in titles, simply to come in line with the roles that we've basically fallen into. So Mark Baker, who was instrumental in getting this club started in the first place, getting all our affiliations sorted out with Motorcycling Australia, dealing with all of those headaches. So Mark's been amazing for the last 2 years and running sweep for almost all of our rides. He's not going to stop doing any of that, but his role as president is now going to become vice president, and I will be stepping in as president and basically overseeing the management of the club, which I've sort of been doing with him anyway. So that will be the main change for this year. Noodles, who was vice president, is going to get the title of secretary, because he looks way better in a skirt than I do. Not true, I look better in a skirt. But he is already doing all that back-end work anyway, and all the paperwork, the affiliation stuff, all the legal stuff. He does all that anyway. So Noodles is going to take on the role of secretary and hand more of the treasurer role over to Scooter, to Dave Hand from Scooter Around Sales, the Polaris dealership in Adelaide, the premier Polaris dealership in Adelaide. And he will... Scooter will take on a few more of those roles. He's already the treasurer, but Noodles has been doing a lot of the stuff himself, because it was just really easy for him to do at the time, but he's going to hand more of that over to Scooter now. Probably need to tell Scooter that, but anyway, that's what's going to happen. In other news, BRP are building a new website for us, which is awesome. So BRP have come to the party, and we understand the website that we got set up initially. Thanks Petey Williams over in Victoria for helping us out with that. The landing page and everything has got all of the information that we need on it. It's not as sexy as a website could potentially be, and that's because we needed to get it done fairly quickly and fairly cost effectively at the beginning 2 years ago. But now BRP, and every time I say BRP, I'm sure you guys understand that's Bombardier Recreational Products, which is Can-Am, who are behind the club. They are footing the bill to build a complete new website, which is excellent. We'll still for now run Hello Club, which is the booking feature and everything in the back end for now, but the new website will hopefully have the functionality to be able to take on that responsibility eventually. So big things happening there as well. It's not cheap building a website, guys. So yeah, when BRP step up and say they're going to do it, they do it well. So that'll be great. So that'll be coming online soon. I haven't seen the first drafts of it yet, but I imagine it'll be really, really cool. Brand affiliations. So obviously we've got our sponsors of the club, and just reiterate for you guys again what that's all about. So BRP or Can-Am are the major sponsor of Side-by-Side Club of Australia. So everywhere where the club is included in the videos for the events and things like that, we generally have a logo that says powered by Can-Am. That's because they're paying. So big shout out to Can-Am. Thank you very, very much for everything that you do with this club. ATV store, obviously the regular segments that I have with Luke and with Dave's help over at ATV store, showcasing some accessories from the biggest side-by-side supplier of aftermarket accessories in the industry. So it's great to have ATV store on board, and they do give us products from time to time to test, as they are doing right now, sending some gear to us to test at our next ride. So more to come on that later. Obviously 47 Industries is a sponsor of both the podcast and the club, because 47 Industries is my event company. So all of my time that I'm putting in is thanks to 47. And then we've got the podcast sponsors, which the podcast is separate to the Side by Side Club of Australia, though the main role of the podcast is to promote and advertise Side by Side Club of Australia. So the podcast is not necessarily sponsored by Can-Am by choice, because we have companies like Polaris and Segway on board helping out financially with the podcast as well, which makes everything happen and makes all this stuff happen. So thank you to those guys. Also, we've got City Discount Tyres Port Adelaide, which my buddy Steve owns and runs. CBS Bins, which is Baker's company. They are very strong supporters of ours. Scoot Around, our treasurer's Polaris dealership in Adelaide. Hit them up if you need Polaris stuff. Coan Solutions, and a new sponsor which has come on board with 47 Industries and inadvertently with the club and the podcast, is Cardo. So I actually had a phone call just before Christmas, an email first and then a phone call with the guys at Cardo in North America. They've been seeing what we're doing with the podcast and with the videos for the club, and they want in, and they're sending us some product to test. We're going to be doing a bunch of videos on rides, promoting their products, assuming we love them. Pretty sure we will. We talk a lot about comms. We haven't found a solution with comms yet. We've tried a lot of stuff. We've tried UHF. We've tried other Cardo type businesses, and we have run them in the past. We haven't found the perfect solution yet. So the Cardo gear is rocking up on Monday. So very much looking forward to Noodles getting his greasy little fingers on that and learning how it all works. And then we'll bring you some more information about that as time goes on. So while I'm talking about that, I'll just mention that Noodles and I are basically doing a special project for the club and for 47 Industries with the podcast, with these affiliations and getting things like that set up. So discounts for club members buying particular products, and some little giveaways from time to time to guys in the club and girls in the club who really chip in and help out. So if you've been doing a lot, expect some stuff coming your way down the track. We're always looking for supporters and sponsors of the podcast and the club. So if you're interested in supporting at all, please get in touch. We're looking, with the price of some of the venues going up over the last couple of years, and us holding price pretty much on all of the rides that we do at very, very reasonable pricing. Basically the insurance, what the property owner wants, and a little bit towards our charities, which is what the club is all about as well. We're starting to get a little bit thin on the charity dollars because it's being absorbed by some of the increases that the property owners are acquiring, and fair enough too. So what we're looking at doing, being the club that the Side by Side Club of Australia is, it's not a commercial entity, it's a not-for-profit club. You guys are all part of it. We're going to start running some charity stuff and raffles and things like that. So I'm teaming up with a couple of key club members who have stuck their hand up and said they're going to give us a hand running that side of things. So looking forward to some good things coming your way very, very soon. There'll probably be an announcement coming up at some stage that we're going to be looking for products for a raffle or a charity auction. If that happens, please dig deep, guys, whether it's a bottle of bourbon or a buggy, it doesn't matter. Stuff that we can put towards an auction at the end of the year or into a raffle as a major prize or as secondary prizes. Anything you can get your hands on would be greatly appreciated, because it all raises money for the club, and all of that money goes to the charities, and all of those charities to encourage regional areas, because all the money goes to regional area charities, encouraging them to open land up for us to have rides at. That's what it's all about, and it's been working exceptionally well for 2 years, and it's going to continue to grow. Alrighty, next on my little agenda here, charity donations so far. So just so you know, we aren't just making all of this up as we go along and not actually giving money to charities. This is what you guys have done so far. 2024, year one, we gave $10,000 to the Packsaddle Progress Association. So that's the local charity in the region where we run our big Packsaddle ride every year. So Lisa and Mia and all the guys up in that region at all those stations, this is the charity that they support, and we gave them $10,000 in 2024. And they were ridiculously appreciative of that. It was fantastic. That's a big chunk of cheese. 2025, we gave them another $2,500. We weren't going to give them any, but we had some money there, so we gave them $2,500. We gave $1,500 to Carnarvon Track, which is a Bunkers Conservation Reserve. So we gave them some money as well for letting us come and ride on their property. And then we gave $5,000 to the Pinaroo Project. So any of you guys come along to the Scorpion Park ride that we do every year at the old Thumb Pump 300 racetrack in the sand, we gave the local charity for that region $5,000. So they were very, very pleased with that as well. That happened just before Christmas last year. So that's what we've done so far. So what's that? $19,000 we've given away so far in 2 years. Killer work, guys. That's what we're here for. And all of that money goes to the regions where we're doing the rides, and it encourages them to invite us back and let us use their property for our events. It's all worthwhile, guys. It's not the property owners asking for big dollars. It's us giving money to the region, and then the region saying, hey, come and ride here. You're doing so much for us. We'll let you come and ride in this area. So it is all working really well. Okay, next thing we're going to do is we're going to scooch on over to Luke Beachy at ATV Store. Alrighty, Luke Beachy, welcome back to the Side by Side Australia podcast, buddy. How was your Christmas?
Yeah, good, mate. Thanks for having me. Yeah, it was good. It's nice to just have a break. Took a few weeks off. Good to unwind a bit after a busy year. So yeah, it was nice, mate.
You were meant to take the family on a big holiday somewhere, weren't you? What was that all
We
about?
were
What
looking
happened there?
we were looking at heading down to South Australia, paying a visit to you, but just got busy with all the kids and all the Christmas activities, and hopefully next Christmas we'll make it down.
I was sitting there at the front gate for about 2 weeks. Just, he's coming. I'm sure he's coming. He wouldn't let me down.
You just stay there. We'll end up there eventually. You just wait, all right?
No, all good, buddy. All good. So big year this year for Side by Side Club of Australia, and obviously our partnership with ATV Store is stronger than ever. We're going to have you on as many of the podcasts as we can, talking about the new exciting side by side products you got coming through. I know there's a lot of new stuff coming through, but the main thing we want to talk about today is the guys prepping their machines for the coming season. I mean, we've got a lot of rides coming up this year in a lot of different regions. And some guys haven't used their buggies over the Christmas break. I know here today where I am in South Australia, it's 44, and it's been like that for a couple of weeks. So there's no buggy riding in that sort of weather. So a lot of guys' buggies have probably been sitting in the shed for a bit, and they need to just give them the once over and make sure that they're ready to go. So what would you recommend that the guys need to be looking at to freshen up their machines?
It's just checking all the little things. Wheel bearings, your tie rods, ball joints, just checking all your suspension components and stuff. So like wheel bearing greases are really popular, pull your wheel off, put them in, pump some fresh grease in, get ready for the season. Drive belts, drive belts are the number one thing that you want to be checking to start a fresh season. They're relatively, cheap items for, keeping you out of trouble and tools to change the drive belt. So we've got a really good range of belts, from Gates and G Boost on the website, lots of X3 stuff and Polaris stuff and for all makes and models and tools as well. We've got a huge range of clutch tools as well for changing them. Our new brand Precision ATV, we've got a big range of clutch pullers and stuff. So, that's something that people want to check out as well. So
you've got different sorts of clutch pullers now, haven't you?
Yeah, there's a few different ones. So like these are, like the ones that the Can-Ams come with, they're a great little tool. You can carry them in the glove box or in the toolkit. So if you're out in the trail and you need to change a belt, they're perfect. We have the bigger ones as well. So like in the workshop and stuff, the bigger tools, you can wind them in and hold the clutches open. And, we carry a full range of service tools from as well. So we have all the EPI and Precision ATV tools that are required to fully disassemble the clutches. And, whether you're just giving them a bit of maintenance or you actually need to fix them, replace the rollers or the guides or anything, we carry all the tools to replace them.
And it's the stuff you really should have on the trail. I mean, I've never done a drive belt. I've only driven Can-Ams really, but even the other machines, even the other brands of machines that run CVT, I'm not trying to be too cheeky, even if you don't do a drive belt, every 12 months, if you're using the thing fairly regularly, you probably want to replace the drive belt just on a preventative case anyway, wouldn't you?
Definitely. I think like starting the year, starting the season, it's a good idea just to put a fresh one in. And, drive belt maintenance is big. People don't realize like pulling the clutch covers off and just blowing the dust out and cleaning them out, giving the sheaves, the front of the, clutch faces a wipe is a really good idea. And putting a belt in, running it in, giving it a good, prep. So that if you put a fresh belt in and you just go and flog it straight away, you got more chance of breaking a belt. But, put it in, bed it in. So we're actually going to do a video and a bit of stuff soon on how to wash and prep a belt for the season, so that when guys get them, they can give them a wash, prepare them like they need to, put them in. And, hopefully if your clutches are in good shape and you're doing the right thing, it's going to last you all year, which is what you want. You don't want to be out on the side of the trail putting a belt on.
And you, when you take the old belt out, if it's still in relatively good condition, you don't chuck it in the bin. You zip tie it to the inside of your roll cage or chuck it under the passenger seat or something. So you've got a backup.
Yeah, 100%. You people are crazy if they don't keep a spare belt with them, when they go off and do stuff. So it's just a great idea. So.
All right. Any other recommendations on what the guys should be looking at when they're going over their buggies pre-season?
Mate, there's so many things, so many little things you just want to check, like I said before, like even the rear ends, check the radius rods, just the heim joints and the little bit of movement. Wheel bearings are a big one, If you got beadlock rims, check the rings, check the bolts on them, make sure they're tight. A lot of guys don't realize that those are actually loose until the tire's flat. They don't know why it's flat. And little things like that. It might sound simple, but just checking the bolts on that sort of stuff, so that way when you do get out on the trails, you don't have any issues.
And so when the guys want to get some oils, diff oils, engine oils, air filters and things like that to do a pre-season service on their machine, what's the process with ATV Store? Because they can actually go in and put their machine in the website and it'll give them everything they need, yeah?
Yeah, so you can jump on the front of the website, you'll see it. We have a vehicle fitment finder. You can go on, put whatever vehicle you've got, make, year, model in there. And then you can shop by parts that we have for that vehicle. So you'll see, like most vehicles, we have hundreds of parts in stock for them. We've even recently, we've put together service kits. So you could, pick your 2022 Maverick X3 XRS, jump on there, and it will actually bring up oil and filter kits for the engine, which is really good. As part of that, we now have My Garage. So you can save the vehicle under your account. So next time you want to buy something for that vehicle, you just jump on, you can click straight on it and you can shop the parts. And then also in our search function on the website, you can say you're looking for an air filter, you can just type up air filter, and because you've got your vehicle saved, it'll bring up just the air filters that fit your vehicle. So you could, pick between an all balls paper one, a precision A to B paper one, a upmarket or upgraded K&N one or SMB. So we give you all options. So we're trying to make it as user friendly as possible, so it makes life easier for everyone.
And for those higher end serviceable air filters, you've got the cleaning fluids and the oils and everything in stock, yeah?
Yeah, we keep everything. So we keep, the K&N cleaning kits, we keep multiple ranges of, if it's foam filters, some people like to use a foam filter. So we carry the oils, the cleaners, all the fluids. We have complete packs you can buy with everything in there ready to go. So there's a huge range there and plenty of options to choose from.
And there's a misconception that I've heard from a couple of people that they say, their ATV Store, there's so much stuff on the website, but it's not always in stock. That's rubbish, isn't it? It's like if it's on the website, it's in stock, yeah?
Yep, it's a complete rubbish. If it's on our website, we stock it. The only reason we wouldn't have it is if it's sold out. And if it's sold out, it means we've got it on order and we're waiting to come in. You've seen the tour of our warehouse here. We keep everything in stock. So we're up to, I think at the moment we're around 6,700 different products in stock, and they are all stocked items. So, you jump on there, we have the 2 p.m. Shipping every day. So get your order in before 2, we ship it out same day. We have, cheap express shipping options. We try and keep the cost down on that. As you know, we ship stuff all over the country every day. So yeah, if you have any issues and you definitely want to know something about it, give us a call, reach out to our customer service team and they can help everyone out as well. So.
Legend. Thanks again. Always a wealth of knowledge, Luke. Really appreciate your time, buddy. And we'll get going and get back into the podcast and we'll chat with you next time.
No dramas, mate. Thanks for having me. We'll talk soon.
So John Rogers, sitting on your deck there, end of the day, probably 40 plus degrees sitting at your place. Thanks for jumping online with me. How was your day today, mate?
Yeah, it was fairly hectic today, pretty hot, pretty mid-40s, getting up there. A little bit sweaty. Not the best day for digging holes.
So, John, you and I used to ride together on quads back in the Quad Riders SA days and used to go racing. Well, me was more riding and you was more racing. But you only really started getting involved in the side-by-side club at the back end of last year. You came on a couple of rides with us, yeah?
Yeah, that's right. Dave asked me to come along and just hang out on the Flinders Rangers one. That was really good. We went and did Skytrack and a few other little cool tracks out there, and it was a lot of fun. And then yourself and Dave said, why don't you come along to the next one at Packsaddle? And yeah, I think that's pretty well where the hook was set then. It was something I wanted to get involved with, and it's been really enjoyable. Just a good getaway.
Beautiful. So, look, there's a lot that you're bringing to the table with getting involved as the event coordinator for the, I guess we call it now, the South Central region of the club. You've done a lot of adventure bike riding up in the high country and out in the desert and all over the place. So a lot of this camping stuff that we're talking about doing is something that I'm going to lean on you a bit for advice. So you've done a fair bit of two-wheeler camp riding, yeah?
Yeah, we've got away probably at least 5 or 6 times a year for the last couple of years on longer trips and a couple of overnight ones as well. It's just a good way to escape the drama of life and just go hang out and watch a campfire at night time. It's just a good relax. Sometimes the trips aren't as relaxing as they could be. There's a few dramas or inclement weather, but it all adds to the adventure. It's sort of, if nothing went wrong, it wouldn't be an adventure, and it would just be like riding to the shops. So it's not as much fun then.
Like the last ride where I blew the clutch out on my CF Moto adventure bike and ended up getting to lunchtime on day one before I had to get my wife to come and save me.
Yeah, I'm not sure Tiff's quite forgiven you yet, but it was good fun. Like I got to see the inside of a brand new bike. It was cool, pulling it apart on the side of the road in the desert and trying to make it work. And, we got to go and to limp it home to where Tiff could pick you up. But, it's just part of the fun of it all. It's not about who's the best rider. It's about just all going out and having a good time and helping each other get through certain things. And I think that's sort of the camaraderie of that is sort of very similar to that of these camperways and that we do with the buggies. And it's just a good laugh, good people, just all looking for the same thing and escape from whatever the monotony of their everyday is to do something different and exciting and see some great country.
Yeah, well said. Absolutely, mate. So speaking of which, we've got 5 big rides coming up in the South Central region for this year. I'm going to start going through them. Now, some of them you've come to and some of them you haven't. So you'll be able to give me a bit of feedback on some of them. So first ride for the year is April 17 to 19. Now, that's Friday to Sunday. So typically that's lunchtime Friday to lunchtime Sunday. In saying that, most people get up Sunday morning and head home because they've had enough. They're pretty worn out by then. But that's in the Coorong Sand Dunes. And you've done plenty of rides there with the quad guys back in the day, yeah?
Yeah, plenty of rides there with the quad guys. It was, it's a lot of fun, and it can be as terrifying as you want it to be as well. So it has the thrill there for those that want to push the limits, and it also has a lot of fun with just the camping aspect and great scenery. Get out and you can go for a fish on the beach. It sort of suits everybody. It's just good fun.
Yeah, we've had guys come out to those rides in the last couple of years where they brought Polaris Rangers and Can-Am Defenders and pure utility machines, and they're not going to keep up with the turbo machines, but they're not designed to. But they're so much fun to get out there in the dunes and just go looking around, have a bit of an adventure, go exploring.
Yeah, that's the best part, is the exploring. And when you do it in numbers, the same with the bikes as it would be with these buggies. If something goes wrong for one of the people on the ride, there's 10 people can throw a hand in and help them out, whether it's a part that's broken or they just bogged and need a tow or just need some advice on how to get up things and get around obstacles. It'll be a good weekend away. Good for those that are new also to cut their teeth with their new machine and, trying to see what they're capable of, I guess.
Yep, absolutely. So second ride we've got planned for the year is May 15 to 17. Now, this is Mount Ive Station. Now, we're going to know about as much about that as each other because neither of us have ever been there. Have you heard of Mount Ive before?
I have, but I've never been there. I've done a lot of rides out that way and a lot of camping and forward driving over the years, but I've never ever been to that station.
Yeah, okay. So there's quite a few trails there. It's not as hilly as some of the Flinders Ranges stuff we've done, not so mountainous. There are ranges out there though. But the big draw card for us, apart from the fact that it's a fantastic property, it's got a little bar there and plenty of different options for accommodation, which we'll get into in later podcasts. The property owner at Calendo Station next door, which is basically the property between Mount Ive Station and Lake Gardner, they've given us permission to get a guided drive from Mount Ive all the way through to Lake Gardner. Now, that's unheard of. You can't get that. But the property owner at Mount Ive Station has organised that, and they're going to take us on the Saturday afternoon on that run out to the edge of Lake Gardner. Now, if people have never heard of Lake Gardner before, just look up Land Speed Record Australia and you'll see some amazing footage. It's quite picturesque, and we'll be able to get right up to the edge of it, get the drones up, get some awesome footage, and have a hell of a lot of fun.
Yeah, that should be awesome. See a bit of countryside that the average person doesn't generally get to see.
And they certainly can't drive a side-by-side buggy out there because it's public access road that goes out there, but obviously unregistered vehicles aren't allowed on that unless you've got permission from the property owner, which we managed to get. So that's awesome. Okay, so the third ride of the year is July 3 to 5, which is Scorpion Park. Now I know you've ridden at Scorpion Park because
yeah, I don't think I'll ever forget the sore ass that came from riding that track. It was something else.
It's a little bit different in a side-by-side. We've cut out all of the real tight, windy stuff through the sandhills and the scrub. And really, it's a high, faster flowing track now. It's about a 15-minute loop as opposed to a 25, 26-minute loop that the quads used to do, because it's a shorter track that we do, but it's right around the perimeter and through the faster stuff. So it's actually a lot of fun. It's really, really good to let your hair down a little bit. So those guys that want to go a little bit quicker and have a bit of fun that way, it really is open to them. But you can just cruise around at your own pace.
Yeah, that'd be a lot of fun. These buggies ride so nice, so I will be surprised if they're not a lot more comfortable than the old quads of the day.
I promise you they are, brother. Absolutely. But from what I've heard, the property owner Wade has recently purchased what's he done? He's purchased a toilet block, the transportable toilet block from the Pinaroo School, because they've got a new one under a government grant. So he bought the old one and he's taking that out to the property. So not only we've got the showers that Noodles and Drea and myself and everyone and Chuckles all built back in the thumb pump days, but they've also going to have toilets out there. So that's a big plus.
Yeah, there's nothing better than a real poo, is there? There's nothing worse than sitting out in the bush trying to make it happen.
Nicely put. Okay, fourth ride of the year, September 3 to 5. Packsaddle Station Country. Now this one's a cracker. You had a bit of fun last year, yeah?
Yeah, it was amazing to see such an enormous amount of ground. That's the thing that really struck me out there, was how enormous the acreage really is. And when you can drive for a couple 100 kilometres in one direction and not reach the end of it, you're like, wow, this place is bloody huge. It's massive. And I really feel like we barely touched on 5% of what's actually out there. It was cool. It was good country, and some good fast driving as well if you're keen for that as well.
That's it. And we weren't stuck in on the gravel roads for much of the time. Troy Mills, our trail boss for that particular ride, went out there and pre-ran it the week before, and he's found so many fast-flowing riverbeds, real heavy sand riverbeds that are just so much fun. You're ducking underneath trees and you're cruising along at 70, 80 k's an hour, having an absolute ball. And the contacts that he made when we were out there with some of those guys, I don't remember the fencing contractor fellas who were out there, they've given us access to the two properties west of where we were. So now we've nearly doubled the volume of country that we can go and play in. So Millsy's actually going to go up there after the Coorong ride in April, which he's coming to because he's never been to Coorong. He and a couple of the other boys are going to head straight up to Packsaddle country up north of Broken Hill, and they're going to pre-run the trails that we're hopefully going to do in September. And they're going to get all the way out. The plan is all the way out through a lot of the sand dunes, which are out towards the South Australian border and down to the dog fence. So this is going to be a different one because rather than run Friday, Saturday, and then come home Sunday, the plan is we're hopefully going to do Thursday afternoon out at one of the stations running the riverbeds like we did the last 2 years as a bit of a shakedown so we can get to make sure everyone's got their buggies sorted out before we do the big ride on the next day. And then we'll stay in the pub at the Packsaddle Roadhouse on that Thursday night. And then Friday morning, we're going to head west and we're just going to drive west. And he would have pre-run all of those trails. There'll be a lot of riverbeds, a lot of sand dunes to cruise through. And we're going so far that the plan at this stage is we're going to camp out. So everything you need, we're going to carry in our buggies. Now, a couple of people have been on the Facebook page and shown a bit of concern about having to carry their gear, saying they haven't got enough room to carry their gear. As an adventure bike rider who goes camping on adventure bikes, can you pacify them a little? Can you give them a little bit of comfort?
Definitely. You can pack very light for a one-night stay. A one-man tent is probably, I don't know, they pack down to say 12 inches long and 4 inches round. A small sleeping bag is the same. You're not going to need high temperature sleeping bags out there because it's going to be pretty decent weather. It's not likely to be freezing cold. But if you do need a thermal blanket, you can buy them as well, and they're the size of a beer can. And all of that camping gear is not as expensive as you would think. You know, probably for the cost of a night at the Packsaddle Hotel, you could pack out all of the stuff you need for a night in the bush and get to see the stars and, you know, all the cool stuff that, you know, it's what turns me on about going camping, is going out and seeing what nobody else can see because they're in a hotel room or in a city, not enjoying what's out there. It is very good. And you can do it reasonably cheaply.
Absolutely. I mean, we don't need it. If we've got 20 buggies, we don't need to take 20 barbecues, you know. I'll be taking a little griddle, which is, I've got a titanium griddle, which is sort of this big. It's not huge, but enough to cook a couple of snags and take some wraps and, can of baked beans and a couple of beers maybe for at the end of the day. But chances are we're going to be at a property that's got shearers' quarters and stuff anyway. We're just not going to know until Millsy gets out there and pre-runs it as to exactly what the facilities are. But I'm pretty confident we're going to need fuel to get back if we're travelling that far. So we'll probably organise a support vehicle with a recovery trailer to carry everyone's jerry cans out to the overnight stop, just so that we don't have to stress about carrying too much fuel. As much as we can carry fuel, if you've got to carry a whole fuel tank worth of fuel to get home, bit of a stretch. So we'll come up with a solution for that. So that's our job between now and then, is to sort that out once we know exactly what Millsy's got in store for us. It'll be the highlight of the year for sure. That's the one I'm encouraging the Can-Am guys to come back out to, and any journos that we've got that want to do a really epic adventure, that'll be the one. That'll absolutely be that one. That and Mount Ive will be the two. So the last ride of the year that we've got scheduled at this stage for the South Central region is October 16 to 18, which is back to the Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday morning, back at the Coorong Sand Dunes. So it's always nice to have a shakedown at the end of the year, just a bit of a wind-up in the dunes where we're nice and comfortable, and it's such an epic property. So a nice way to finish off the year.
Yeah, definitely. Close to home. Good to catch up with everyone before Christmas and finish up the year nicely.
And it's nice and close to Victoria too. I think people forget just how close we are to the Victorian border there. Between Scorpion Park and the Coorong Dunes, you can almost classify those as Victorian accessible events anyway.
It's definitely good to have those events that are close to the border. It brings those guys across, and it's always good to hear what they've been up to on their side, and sort of tempts us to go across and see some of their rides as well when they get them organised. Absolutely.
And then we've got a couple of other rides which are in discussion at the moment. In fact, while we've been talking, I just had another message from Nigel Lawrence in Silver City Motorcycle Club. So there's two rides that we're working on. Now, we don't know whether they're going to happen or not, but at this stage, it's potential that we may run a ride in November east of Broken Hill out towards the Darling River, which we've done before on quads. But we're trying to get permission to do that in side-by-sides. We're waiting to hear back from those guys as to whether that's going to happen. If it does happen, that's going to be an epic ride.
Yeah, definitely. Having done that on a quad, it'll be an amazing trip. It'll be good fun. And the scenery you drive to is really cool, and they really know how to put on a good show. So they know how to make an event work, those guys.
Absolutely. It's been a long time since I've done an Anna Branch ride, but wow, they are good fun. And then we're also thinking about doing a ride in October sometime. Can-Am, our major sponsor, internationally do an event which is basically called International Off-Road Day, and it's run on a weekend. I think it's the first weekend in October or around that sort of time. And they always try to do an off-road event of some description around the country, and I've sort of stuck our hand up, sorry guys, that we could potentially do that. And I've got access to a property, a really good mate of mine in Tamworth who just happens to be one of the biggest Can-Am dealers in the country, has got a really beautiful property about 20 minutes out of Tamworth. So it's not that many hours from Sydney. It's about 6.5 hours from Brisbane. Certainly for the new guys coming on board in that South East Queensland area, it's accessible. So we're looking at the potential of maybe running a club ride out there just to stick our toe in the water in that region. So if that happens, hopefully we'll get a Guernsey to go along as well.
Yeah, that'd be cool to go and see some subtropical sort of area. Most of our stuff's arid sort of riding. So yeah, to get a bit of moisture under our tyres and not dust would be epic.
Absolutely. I've certainly seen it up there like it is down here at the moment, but at the moment up there they're doing all right, the old farmers. So yeah, the ground's nice and green. So that's basically what we've got in store for this year for our region. Thanks, John, for taking the time to jump on with me and facing the heat. And we'll just have a bit of a touch base over the weekend and next week to finalise a couple of these other things that are happening, and hopefully give her a red hot go this year. It's going to be a good year, mate. There's a lot going on.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. I look forward to meeting all the new people and getting to know those that have been involved longer than I have.
Beautiful. All right, buddy. I'll let you go have your dinner.
No worries, mate. Take it easy. Thank you.
And that's all just the start of it. There's so much stuff happening this year and next year. It's going to be a massive, massive time for the Side by Side Club of Australia and for the Side by Side Adventure Podcast, which we're on right now. If you guys want to find out more about what's going on before the next podcast, jump onto Facebook. There's bits and pieces on Instagram as well, but most of the information ends up on Facebook to Side by Side Club of Australia. And check it out. As new information comes about, it'll be popped up on there. So as I said, big news coming. I just can't let everything out just yet because some of the things are still in negotiation, but getting very close. I just don't want to announce anything until I know 100% for sure. A big thanks to everybody, especially the guys on the executive committee and the event coordinators and trail bosses and everyone who's making all of these events happen, and all of the property owners who let us come out and play, and obviously all of the sponsors. So keep following the podcast, keep following Facebook, keep checking out Instagram, and as new information comes about, we'll let you know as soon as we can. But for now, we'll catch you out in the trails. Did you notice my little 47 Industry sign behind? I was so excited about this, and I got it, and I thought, this is great. I can have it lit up behind me when I'm doing the podcast. And as you can see, it just flickers its brains out because of the way the videos work and the frequencies and all of that sort of. It's too hard to explain, but basically, I've got to leave it off. I'm so disappointed, but it's cute, eh?